Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Outlet Podcast. Today our guest is the one and only Tyler Johnson. Pusha T, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So the first thing we want to talk to you about is your jersey collection, because I don't know if it's just because we see you so often, but you're always rocking a jersey of somebody around the league, former or present. So how did this all begin for you? What does your jersey collection look like?
Well, when I was younger, I was fortunate enough to play with some like really big time players, and if I ever went over to their house, I saw they had like a trophy collection, and so one thing I wanted to start doing was just collecting jerseys off of people who I was really close with. Now I get one from all my teammates, just as part of the history, like see where you've been, to help know where you're going, and then the second part was just guys who you had a real close connection with, being able to write things down that my kids will be able to see forever, and it's just a big part of my history.
Okay, so how many jerseys do you have?
I have a lot.
If you had to ballpark a number, are we talking like over 100 or under?
I'd probably say a little bit under
Okay.
100. This is the third year of really getting into it. So we'll say 15 players a year, 15 to 18.
Okay.
I'm not good at math.
But you
so it's
also
18.
do jersey swaps sometimes. I've seen that a lot. How do those do those count in there? So maybe even like closer to 20 or 25 a season?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
'Cause I stole that from D Wade
Yeah.
on his last dance, on his 16th season. I stole that from him. Just getting guys who they actually mean something to me. Like they've been a part of my story somehow or my journey. So it just goes back to where I can show my kids.
Very cool. Okay, whose jersey was the first one that you got?
The first one I did was James Johnson.
Okay, that's
James
a solid
Johnson.
one.
Yeah, my former teammate
Okay.
in Miami.
When did you get D Wade's jersey?
I got D Wade's jersey. I think I have two actually. He sat right next to me in the locker room when I was in Miami, so it's just like, go ahead and take care of that for me.
Do you make them sign it every time too, so that it's got like we know this is a game worn jersey and it's?
Nah, I don't really care about that.
Okay.
So much. But the thing is too is you kind of get a feel of people's where you stand in their careers or history, because sometimes people really take time and write on the back of it. Sometimes people just, and then sometimes people actually take time and think about it and write it down. And so it's a good gauge too.
Who are some of those people? I want to take a guess and say at least Jamal Crawford from what I saw.
Yeah.
Because I remember that last year, that was a really cool experience. It was during exit interviews, right? You passed along a jersey, had a nice handwritten note on the back of it.
That was, that one started when I was still in Miami. I remember we came down here and we played, and I got to see Jamal. And this is probably this is my 5th year. Built the courage to actually say something to him. And I was like,
I can relate to that.
And so I was like, man, I just wanted to let you know you've been a big part of why I wanted to come off the bench and why I've done it since I was a kid, like all the way back to high school. You really helped me with that, and so I appreciate it. And he was kind of taken back at first, and then we just so happened to play on the same team, and we already kind of had a basis. And then he helped me a lot when I first got to Phoenix, trying to show me around and understanding the team and everything. So then it was just special.
How was that? Because was he one of your favorite players? Kind of. I mean, obviously, if he was a big reason as to why you wanted to be in that 6-man role, was he a favorite player of yours for a while, or just somebody you really respected?
He was somebody I really respected. I watched him. So there was 3. I was a huge Kobe fan.
Okay.
But as far as people who I would try and emulate, as far as roles go, it was Jamal, Lou Williams, and Manu. So I would try and emulate those guys because they all 3 won 6-man.
Right.
They all 3 did it a little bit differently. But Jamal and Manu were probably the first 2 that I started watching really closely.
Okay. So do you have a favorite jersey in your collection? Can you pick one?
That's a good one. If we're going non-player, I'd probably say Pat Tillman.
Okay. So it does extend outside of basketball then?
Yeah, it does. I have soccer, football.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I just like them.
Yeah, very cool. So are they becoming like a staple in your wardrobe? Because we do see you wear them quite a bit. So it's just kind of in the rotation now?
It's just in the rotation. Just mix it up.
Or just whenever you feel like, oh, you know, I'm just going to go in this closet and pick out a really cool jersey here.
You know, it's also good to support. Like, you get to support your teammates. You know, I still get to wear Suns gear, but then I get to put somebody else's name on the back. The worst one was I wore the Ty Jerome jersey, and people thought I was Ty Jerome. And so that one was a little bit confusing. Yeah.
Does that happen a lot? Do people, because I feel like it would be really easy to call you Ty at some point, but then you're like, oh, wait, no, now I got to make sure I say Tyler.
Like, when the beard is, we have a similar, like, beard where it just kind of grows on the neck. So
For sure.
Like, I could see it.
Okay, so then who was your favorite player growing up?
Kobe.
Kobe. How was that? What was that like?
I was like a fanatic. I'm talking about my whole room was all posters and plaques. I got a basketball, or my mom did, from an auction like somewhere, and it was like, I made it. I did it. I didn't even have to go to the NBA at that point. It was like, I made it.
So what do you guys have a relationship? Do you know each other at all?
Who?
Kobe.
No, so that was the worst part is when I got to the league, my very first game was against the Lakers. I sat in a suit, and then the next time he was hurt, the next time we go there, I was hurt. Come back here, and he was hurt. He was out for the season.
So you
and
just
then
kept missing each other.
I missed him. That's it.
Oh, man. What a bummer. Okay, so if you could hang out with Kobe for a day, what would you do?
You know what? I'll just try and pick his brain on just his mindset. Like, he's one of those people why I loved him so much was just because he didn't need a reason to, like, turn the switch on. You know, it was just every day he could do it. And so I kind of just, like, would love to hear how he does that, how he was able to keep that switch on always, because that's what separates, like, greats from good. Like, that's why I have such a respect for Devin when I got here, was because he didn't need somebody to talk trash. He didn't need somebody to say something. He didn't need to be benched. He didn't even, you know what I mean? It's just always, like, when the game turns on, it's just a different person.
So what has it been like with the Phoenix Suns this season and getting to actually know Devin? Because I feel like we haven't really been able to catch up with you on the whole situation since you got traded here. We've been enjoying having you here, but I haven't asked you about it yet.
You know what? This has been a interesting season because there's so many different things and moving parts and things are changing. We're a team that competes really hard, still learning how to win, and so it's. You know, it's one of those things where it's awesome to be a part of, just seeing the small sample size from last year till now, where you're like, at least I think we have a chance to come in and win games, you know?
Sure.
And we go into games like, hey, this is one we can go get. This is a team we're supposed to beat. This is a team, hey, we need to be all the way locked in if we're going to have a chance to win this game. Whereas, you know, it wasn't even so much of like, last year we were just so young. You know, just so many guys who had never been in situations of winning. So it was different.
Well, for you coming from that Miami Heat culture and that winning culture, what are some of the things that you've been able to kind of, even just this season alone, help some of the younger guys along in learning what it takes to win?
Just more so like preparation. You know, my role's kind of switched this year where, you know, I've kind of had some games where I'm not playing. So it's kind of like in those times you can either pout, you know, and feel bad for yourself, or you can go and bring up the guys who are, you know, the younger guys. So, you know, in practice, I'm bringing them up and making sure that, hey, make sure you're locked in, make sure we're all getting better. Don't have a day where you come in and it's like, oh, you know, it's another practice. No, it's the day to get better.
Right.
And then when we're on the court, just being able to give a different perspective of what I see on the court. Because, you know, I know the game plan and I've been in, you know, big games, so like I can kind of read when games or people are going sideways or games going sideways, or when we're playing really good, like how do we extend it, you know?
Where does that mindset come for you? Because I know it's not easy to always have that, you know, whether you're playing more or you're playing less, it's not easy to keep that same mindset. So where does that come for you?
Just staying ready, you know, and I stay with the preparation, and then you know, when it's time, it's not like I'm looking around like, oh, I didn't know I was going to go in or not. It's staying and trying to be consistent every day.
What are your thoughts on Coach Monty Williams? It's been fun to watch him and what he's done with this team so far this season.
Yeah, he's definitely brought a different perspective. You know, he's been around a lot of really great players, so he has a little bit of old school in him, not a little bit. He's all old school. I like, you know, he only listens to like jazz and R&B and
Nice.
stuff. So,
I didn't know that. I'm gonna
yeah,
have to ask him about
you're
that.
gonna have to. Yeah, it's all, you know. So he's an old school guy with the old school mentality, and it's you know, bring your hard hat and your lunch pail every day, and make sure you're getting better.
Very cool. Okay, we're gonna switch gears a little bit here. One of our sponsors on this podcast is ADHS, and one of their campaigns for this year is anti-bullying. So, have you ever experienced bullying, and if so, how did you handle it?
I think everybody, you know, in their life at some point has experienced some kind of bullying. I think that it's all about situation and timing, because I know there's some times when you feel like maybe somebody's getting bullied and you're like, I don't know if this is my place to step in. You know, maybe I gotta let them defend themselves, or maybe you know, they're reading the situation like they don't seem like they are comfortable enough defending themselves, where they feel a little bit intimidated. One thing that I've done with my kids is teach them acceptance of everybody, no matter what, you know, race, color, gender, anything. But one thing I've done with them actually is put them in self-defense.
Okay.
And so my reasoning behind that isn't for them to go and just beat people up.
Right.
You know, it's for them to be able to explore whatever it is they want to do, be free. They don't have to play sports. They could do dance. Like my oldest, his favorite color is pink, and he's a boy, and everybody tells him, don't wear pink, don't wear pink. That's why I started painting my toenails, to let him know it's okay. Like, you got to be able to express yourself freely.
Yes.
And know that, but now that self-defense comes in is where, like, you can express yourself freely, but now nobody can get in your space. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If people say words are words, you know, and sometimes that is another form of bullying, which can be tough, you know, but words are words. When it comes to like somebody maybe trying to physically harm you, now I comfortable enough defending myself to where you'll know not to do that again.
Absolutely. I didn't realize that you started painting your toes for that reason, because I've noticed it in the locker room, and we've chatted about it a little bit. I absolutely love that so much. That's amazing. Do you always pick orangish or pinkish, or do you mix it up a little bit?
I let him choose.
Okay.
I let him choose. Sometimes I'll let him choose.
I love that.
And it's not even so much that I'm like sitting here saying you get to get your nails painted too.
Right.
You know, it's
just if
like,
you want
hey,
to,
man,
you can.
You can do whatever. You can express yourself the way you feel like you
It's
want to.
2020. I think we can all understand how amazing pedicures are, and if you're still like anti-pedicure, you're missing out.
You definitely
completely.
are. I didn't know until like a
They
year
are
ago.
the best thing. Like,
That hot wax.
yes,
When they put your feet in the
it's
hot
so
wax.
good.
Wow.
I'm telling you, if you haven't had a pedicure, go try it. But did you know that only 20 to 30% of students who are bullied tell a adult or an authority figure? So that leaves a lot of students who are bullied to handle it by themselves. So if you guys need any information on anti-bullying or tips, just head to muststopbullying.org. Thank you for talking with us about bullying, Tyler.
No problem.
All right, so let's get into a few fan questions here. The first one that I thought was really fun, because we've seen this from you this year, is your Spanish. I don't think all of us knew how good you are at speaking Spanish, so I'm guessing that came from your time in Miami. Who was the one person or a couple people who really helped you learn Spanish?
Well, I grew up in California too.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that helps too.
Huge Mexican influence over there. My best friend in college was Cesar Guerrero, who plays down in Mexico now. So it's just a little broken stuff. I don't really
But it's
speak.
fun.
I can more like talk crap in Spanish. You know, it's not like. I understand it a little better than I can actually speak it.
I think that's fair. Like, I'm the same way. Like, I can pick up words and everything and get what's being said, but the conjugation for me is the really hard part when I'm trying to speak it.
For sure.
I'm like, I speak in singular words, and I hope that you can understand what I'm saying. Do you and Ricky try and chat in Spanish? I know it's a little bit different, but...
It's one of those things where like I'll just say what I have to say and walk away.
Okay.
You know, it's not so much like we go back and forth. I'll just give him what's on my mind at that
Yes.
point, and then I'll walk away.
Well, because we saw it just last week on the road trip. You were, during our post-game interview with Ricky, just throwing out some funny lines. And he tried really hard to keep it together, but at one point he just could not. He cracked and just started laughing. So we always appreciate that. Fave places to eat in Phoenix?
One of my favorite places. What is it? It's Sushi Roku.
I think so.
I think that was one of them. In the W, that's the one in the W? So there's one in the W, sushi spot in the W Hotel that I really like. Taking my mom, Steak 44, she loved it.
Okay.
But one of my all-time favorite places, and I didn't know they had it in the arena, was Benihana's.
You didn't know that it was in here?
I didn't.
Okay, do you get to visit it at all, or is it kind of hard?
When would I visit
mean, I
it?
was
When do
going
I
to say
get
it's
to
kind of hard.
visit it?
I would send somebody up there and be like, can you get this? And this is my to-go meal at the end of the game.
That is happening for sure.
You should do that.
That is happening for sure. Like, that's one of my spots, for sure.
Nice. Okay. What was it like playing with Dwayne Wade?
D. Wade was another one of those guys. When we go back to like our previous questions and conversations, was like an all-time great. You know, the guy was he taught me a lot about preparation and taking care of your body, and then you know, he just has knowledge that you can't pick up from just the average NBA player.
Right.
You know, because he's a 3-time champion. You know, so. Between probably him, Chris Bosh, and Udonis Haslem, those were like 3 guys that really taught me a lot outside of what I probably would have gained just from talking to the average NBA player.
I know you have told this story a lot, but even just now you mentioned you had to sit next to him in the locker room. How often was he one of those guys who would just lean over and be like, hey, I saw this tonight. Here's something you can do to improve there. Or, hey, I saw this tonight. You're doing really well here.
Yeah, you know what, he was big on, especially my early years. You know, you'd have those games where you play amazing. It's like, hey, you know, good job, young fella. And then I'm like, I come in and I'm like, my head between my hands, and he's like, what's up? So he never let me pout. It was more like, express yourself. What happened? Like, what are you thinking about, or what do you think happened? Because usually as young players, you're like, it's all my fault, and you're like, why? And he's like, I just missed those 2 shots, and you're like, so? Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, nobody else sees it except for you.
Right.
You know, so it's like one of those things where it's like, he would always come to me and be like, did you get the shots you wanted? Yeah, I did. All right, well, the next time, just make them.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's as simple as that.
I think that's really good advice and that translates to pretty much anything in life too. You know, sometimes things don't work out, but just because it didn't work out the way you wanted this time doesn't mean you're a failure.
For
just
sure,
means you're
for
on
sure.
the right track, and you just got to keep working, and eventually you'll get there.
For sure.
I think that's something that's really important to remember. Okay, are you a morning or a night person?
Unfortunately, I'm a night person.
Same. I'm a
Unfortunately.
middle of the day person.
Middle of the day. That's perfect, actually, because if you can burn yourself out before the nighttime, that's amazing. But like,
I want to go to bed early and I want to wake up late.
Yeah, that's me.
So what time do you normally wake up in the morning?
I mean, I normally get up like 8 o'clock.
Okay, I mean, that's
7:30,
not bad.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Right.
But, you know,
You kind of have to. It's part of the job.
it is, you know. But I have a problem sometimes if I watch TV before I go to sleep. I'll have so many things running through my head. Like, I started Vikings.
Okay.
And now, like, I'm like thinking about going and meditating on top of rocks and like pillaging villages and all that. So it's like, it's pretty rough.
Is that your show right now?
Yeah.
What's
yeah,
your
for sure.
all-time favorite TV show or movie?
Movie?
Okay, I think I know what movie is going to be.
What?
Joker?
That's one of them for sure.
Yeah, like just as a whole, not necessarily
Dark
one
Knight.
specifically.
Dark Knight.
Okay.
The one with the Heath Ledger Joker that's
Yes.
on my thigh. That's one of them. I can watch that anytime. Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay, that's
is
a
another
solid one.
And He Got Game, probably.
Okay, those are pretty. I like the mixture there. So,
Godfather.
Godfather's always
and
a solid
Godfather
choice.
and Scarface are also.
I just watched the new Joker. Finally, like last week. What'd you
In the
think of
hotel?
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
On the road
That's where I
trip.
caught it too,
I was
don't
like,
worry.
I gotta watch this. What'd you think?
I loved it. It's just it's weird because they played more into the the mental side of it, whereas before it was kind of just a villain. But then you got to
Right.
see why he kind of became that way. He was just somebody searching for love, and just companionship.
Yeah.
And he just keeps, for some reason, he just keeps getting dumped on just
Yeah,
a little
short
more
end
and a
of the
little
stick
more, and it
every
just
time.
it goes back to kind of bullying too, though. It's
Yeah,
like
for sure.
eventually some people just have that breaking point where it's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore.
Everyone's gotta be
have
kind.
Maybe they have a reaction that is deemed like, how could they do this? And it's like, well, you keep push somebody a little too far and you back somebody into a corner, you never know how you're going to react until you're actually there.
Absolutely. It was definitely not what I was expecting, but I really enjoyed it, and I hope there's another one.
Oh yeah,
Because
they
I
left
thought
room for another
they
one.
they totally left
they
room
left.
for another one. I just didn't realize that it was so far away from like the comic book jokers. You know what I mean? And I really enjoyed that about it because it was a pleasant surprise for me because I did not know going into it.
I love the laugh, though.
It was good. He played a really good character there. Okay, so all-time favorite shoe.
Jordan 13s.
Okay. How's your shoe collection these days?
It's so hard. My little brothers are just scavengers.
Really?
Yeah. And they both wear the same
That's
size
not
as
what I
me,
was
so it's
expecting
like,
at all.
They both wear the same size as me. Like, I went back to my mom's house not even that long ago. I'm like,
where'd all my shoes go?
no, they're all right here.
Oh, okay.
I'm
They
like,
ended up
and
there.
they're torched. Like, you guys just ran through these. Like, I had a pair of Yeezys, and I was like, it was my first pair, so I was like, I thought they were cool. And then I can't find them, and I'm like, oh, well, I guess I must have lost them somewhere. And then I come home, and they're just, like, destroyed.
Okay, so now you know anytime you're missing shoes, it was probably one of the two
I don't
of
even
them.
care anymore, you know what I mean? I'm blessed. You know what I mean? I'm
Big facts.
fortunate enough to make a little money. So it's like, you know what?
Big
If it
facts.
means that much, get another pair.
Okay, what piece of advice did you get that was most rewarding?
Even keel.
Okay.
Never too high, never too low.
Where'd that one come from?
I've heard it since I was in college.
Okay.
I don't think it was actually the person who taught me that saying was even keel. But when I saw it, I was like, I know what that is.
Okay.
So it's like when things are really good, they're never as good as they seem, and when things are bad, they're never as bad as they seem. So you have to be able to bring the same approach, whether things are good or bad.
Pre-game rituals. Do you have a certain playlist or an artist or a meal that you stick to?
Chicken pesto pasta.
Okay.
Meal. Music varies. It really varies.
What are some of the genres that you enjoy the most?
So I just started listening to Pavarotti.
Okay.
The Italian opera singer.
Really?
So a little bit of Italian opera.
That's kind of cool.
A little Bob Marley. Again, it really just depends. I try and stay away from like that hardcore rap during those times because I like it to be like fluid, like things to flow.
Okay. That's kind of unique. I enjoy that one. All right, last question I got for you. This is my submitted question, and there's a right answer. Do you eat mac and cheese with a spoon or a fork?
You might not like this answer. I don't eat mac and cheese.
Why?
Only some places, like there's only very few places I'll eat mac and cheese.
Where are some of the places you'll eat mac
My
and cheese?
mom can make one that I'll eat,
Okay.
and I used to love KFC mac and cheese.
Okay, KFC low-key has really good mac and cheese and coleslaw. I grew up on KFC, so that was like one of my favorites.
Coleslaw's not that great.
I don't like coleslaw unless it's from KFC, though.
Fair enough.
Because it's like packed full of sugar. That's probably the only reason why I do.
So I'm sorry. I don't.
Okay, so if you eat your mom's mac and cheese at a spoon or a fork?
A fork.
Thank you. Okay, that redeems the fact that you don't eat mac and cheese right there. I still don't understand that. Ricky said the exact same thing, and I just don't understand. Like, how do you miss out on mac and cheese?
It's dairy.
Okay.
And I refuse to eat vegan cheese.
It's not there yet. They've got vegan milk down pretty good, but vegan cheese is still.
Well, it's
got
milk.
steps to go.
Almond milk is fine.
Right. Or even soy milk doesn't taste bad, but I don't know if that's good for you or not. But anyway,
it's packed full of estrogen,
probably.
Isn't it?
That's what they say, but I don't know. I feel like it's conflicting when you Google it.
I need Pecs. You know what I mean? I need to go the other way.
And on that note, Tyler, thank you so much for joining us today. I had a really good time, and fans, don't forget, must.bullying.org has a lot of information that can help you out with anti-bullying, whether you're a child or a parent or just want to brush up on some knowledge. So we'll see you next time.